In the Middle East, few things are as consistent as desert heat, regional tensions, and Iran being at the center of it all. Surrounded by rivals, sanctioned into oblivion, and often written off by the West, Iran's military has somehow continued to evolve, not in the traditional flashy, aircraft carrier kind of way, but in a quieter, grittier, more we'll build it ourselves and hide it in a mountain kind of way. In 2025, Iran's military isn't the most advanced, but it's a nightmare to underestimate. With massive missile stockpiles, regional proxy forces, and a defense doctrine built around asymmetry, Tehran has crafted a military that's part army, part booby trap, and part revolutionary brand. So, what's really under the hood of Iran's armed forces in 2025? Let's break it down, arm by arm, and find out why picking a fight with Iran might be a very long, very explosive mistake. The Islamic Republic of Iran Army Artesh. Let's start with the Artesh, Iran's traditional military branch. It consists of 4 components: ground forces, navy, air force, and air defense command. With around 420,000 active personnel, the Artesh still plays a defensive role, meant to protect Iran's borders and, in theory, hold the line during an invasion. Its ground forces include thousands of older tanks like the T-72s and Zulfikar MBTs, Iran's homemade attempt at a modern tank, somewhere between a Soviet-era relic and a DIY YouTube tutorial with armor plates. Large numbers of artillery pieces, rocket launchers, and anti-tank systems. And perhaps most importantly, experience in unconventional terrain, from desert warfare to mountain operations. The Air Force, however, is where things start to age like milk in the sun. Most of Iran's jets date back to the 1970s, including F for Phantoms, MiG-29s, and a few Chinese models. But here's the twist: Iran has been reverse engineering parts, extending lifespans, and even allegedly creating their own stealth fighters, which mostly look like someone stapled cardboard to an old F-5 and prayed. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The IRGC is not your regular military branch. It's a powerful parallel military, answering directly to Iran's supreme leader. Think of it like the main army's edgier, more secretive cousin, the one who always shows up with a trench coat and a drone. The IRGC has about 190,000 personnel, and its own ground force, naval division, aerospace division, and most famously, the Quds Force, Iran's external operations unit. The IRGC Navy specializes in asymmetric naval warfare, including fast attack boats, swarming tactics, mine warfare, and armed drones launched from speedboats in the Persian Gulf. Basically, if you're an oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, the IRGC is your worst nightmare. The Quds Force deserves a mention of its own. These are the operatives behind Iran's shadow wars, supplying and training militias like Hezbollah, Houthis, and Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. They're the reason Iran doesn't always need to fight wars directly, because their proxies often do it for them. Missile and drone power, the real backbone. Let's be real, Iran's real power isn't its aging tanks or Cold War-era jets, it's rockets and drones, lots of them. In 2025, Iran has the largest missile arsenal in the Middle East. We're talking short-range systems like the Fateh 110, medium-range missiles like Shahab 3 and Sejal with ranges up to 2,000 kilometers, precision-guided munitions that are getting worryingly accurate. And drones? Iran's UAV fleet has exploded in size. The Shahd 136 loitering munition, aka suicide drone, was used in Ukraine and Saudi oil field strikes. The Mohajer and Ababel series provide reconnaissance and strike capabilities. And new stealth-inspired models suggest Iran is prioritizing long-range drone attacks. These aren't just tools of defense, they're part of Iran's offensive strategy, projecting power across the Middle East and even into Europe via proxy use. Iran's navy. Guerrilla warfare at sea. Iran doesn't have aircraft carriers or nuclear submarines. Instead, it has something almost more terrifying: the ability to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point for 20% of the world's oil. The Iranian Navy, split between the Artesh and IRGC, focuses on guerrilla tactics at sea, mini-subs, fast torpedo boats, and floating missile platforms. In recent years, Iran has even started launching drones and missiles from commercial-looking vessels. In other words, if you're in a shipping lane, you might not realize you're next to a warship until it's too late. This kind of warfare isn't designed to win head-on battles, it's designed to cause maximum chaos, raise oil prices, and buy time in a full-scale war. Iran's nuclear ambitions. The elephant in the bunker. Now for the elephant in the nuclear bunker, Iran's nuclear program. Officially, Iran insists it is not building nuclear weapons. Unofficially? Well, the centrifuges spinning deep under mountains like Fordow and Natanz tell a different story. While Iran doesn't yet possess a deployed nuclear warhead in 2025, most experts agree it has the knowledge, materials, and infrastructure to assemble one quickly if the leadership decides to cross that threshold, the so-called nuclear breakout point. And with ballistic missile systems capable of delivering warheads, this raises red flags across Israel, the US, Saudi Arabia, and pretty much everyone else with a map. So, what's the verdict? Iran's military in 2025 is a complex, gritty hybrid of conventional armed forces, revolutionary doctrine, guerrilla naval tactics, proxy warfare, and a massive stockpile of missiles and drones. It's not high-tech in the Western sense, but it's smart, decentralized, and increasingly effective. In short, Iran's military isn't built to invade your country, it's built to make invading theirs a nightmare you'll never wake up from. And that is what makes them so dangerous. Thanks for watching WAR-RUM, where military power meets real-world strategy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Should we cover Saudi Arabia next? Or maybe Turkey? Until then, stay sharp, stay strategic,